Hello there, this is Rom coming back at you with yet another car video. One way women know a man is getting women. One way. And I'm just saying one way because y'all remember, I don't know, a few weeks ago, last week, I don't know. I said women be knowing if a man really getting something. They can just look at a man and tell. And I said I had to talk to some women. And I talked to one woman. One woman. That's why I'm saying one way. Because I ain't sure. I ain't sure otherwise. But I said, you know what? Let me ask some women. Let me ask some women. Because, guys will think one thing. But women, they thinking something else. Wait, hold up a second. Let me put on these glasses. Turn on this car. And I'll let y'all know in a second. I'll let y'all know in a second. Hold up. There's a car about to pull up in this joint. There's a car about to pull up in this joint. They doing something. Hold up. What you doing, dude? Figure out something. Pull up in here, son. Shit. Oh, lady. What you want to do? I'm ready to pull out. Anyway, the women... At least this. Hold up. Let me let this lady pull in here. Okay, you go in there. Hope you don't step in the spit that I left there. Cause Ron got a spit. Let this other car pass. Alright, now I pull out. Let me make sure nobody around here. Yeah. But one way that women will know if a man getting play or not, getting women, is one simple thing. They sexy. That's what my lady friend told me. And I was thinking she's going to tell me all this complicated stuff. She said, no, they sexy. They just look at the guy and think, oh, okay, yeah, he's sexy. He could get it. He could get it. Or they might look at a guy, and even if they don't want him, themselves personally, they say they can see somebody fucking the guy. It's like a lady friend saw somebody in my neighborhood a few weeks ago I mentioned, and she understood why this particular woman was with him. She said he was cute, even though she said he needed to put on some weight for her, but she could see why she was giving this guy something. See, that's one thing with women. They be looking at us. Now, I know guys be thinking all this other stuff, but really, guys don't have vaginas. So how is a man going to really know any damn way? How's a man going to really know? He ain't going to know. See, a woman is going to look at a man and think, yeah, he probably getting something. It's just like if a man's looking at a woman, right? We can look at a woman and have a general idea she getting some play. Maybe even getting she getting some D on the regular, right? Like I remember I dealt with this one woman. She had this big round old butt. You could sit your drink on her shit. And she was trying to tell me she wasn't getting guys like that. I was like, come on, man. Come on. Your fat ass, I know guys gonna be trying to holler at you all the time. And I found out some guys were. Because she was right in that range too, because she had an average face, but a fat ass. I said, please, I know dogs be trying to get up in her. But women be looking at guys the same way. Because remember what I've said before. Women are always checking out a man sexually, even if they know they ain't going to have sex with him. Regardless, if they in a man's presence, they looking at him, they evaluating him sexually. They interviewing for him for a job, they evaluating him. They in his checkout line at the supermarket or something. They evaluating them. They passing by. They evaluate. They always checking out a man. So some men, they be like, oh yeah, he could get it. But, they might keep going or something. And then some other men is like, they ain't getting none. So when they see a man and he looking sexy, they already figure he getting something. That's why you get some women, you can't really fool a woman on being a player. Like you get, like I've said that before, like you get some women out here and they try to act like they trying to act like they got dogged by some guy or they didn't know he was a player. But I would challenge women on that. Say, you knew he was a player. Because they were checking him out like that. Because ain't no way some woman going to mess with some guy. He don't look like he can bring that good D to him. They ain't going to mess with him. If he don't look like he can do something in the bedroom, if he don't look like he can do something there, if he ain't sexy, they just ain't going to mess with him. That's all to it. So when she told me that, I said, that makes sense. Because I've heard some other women say something similar. Like when that man walks, like I said, like you get some situation, you might have a group of women in a room and that player walks in and all of them checking him out because he's sexy. Or like they at a gym or something and they both checking out some guys because these guys are sexy. That guy is sexy to them. That's how they know, because they figure like this. Their logic is, okay, he's sexy. Somebody giving him something. Plus, they know how women are, because that's another thing, too. Because I remember I had a commenter talking about, dude was a virgin, but he was select, but he was a virgin. And I was like, nah, you ain't select then if you a virgin. If you got all this going on. Because if you had all this going on, women going to hand you the poo. Because, seriously. And see, that's something else, too. I need to do another video on it. If you owe that to a woman, in fact, I think I will, but I'll give y'all a preview right now. If you owe that to a woman, if you sex, you got that going on, women going to be aggressive and hand you something. They're going to hand you the poo. They're going to give you something. So if you select, even if you ain't trying, women going to make it hard for you not to take the poo. They're going to come around you. I remember a mentor told me, he was telling me a story about this woman that was at a woman told him too. She was at this resort or something, and she kept running around under this man's like hotel window, butt naked. They gonna try. They gonna do something. It's like I went out with this woman one time, and we went to a place. We ain't never talked about sex. We went back to a place. She had her clothes on. She went back in the bathroom, and she came out in a nightie, or as Ugly Wanda, played by Jamie Foxx from In Living Color, would say back in the day. She came out in some lingerie. Not lingerie, lingerie, and a hot towel. I was like, oh, shit. She know they're going to hand you the poo. They're going to hand you the poo. I'll talk about that in another video this week. I got something else I was going to talk about tomorrow, so, I got to put it, I got to list them all in order so I remember what I'm supposed to be doing. But anyway, a woman knows. She going to look at a guy and tell whether or not that guy can get some. And some guys, they're going to look at otherwise and tell they ain't getting nothing. And part of it is looks. Let's just be real. Part of it is looks. That dude looking good, maybe a certain height, body build, all that stuff, they can tell. But like I said, just part of it. Part of it is also his behavior. How is he carrying himself? Is he walking confidently? Is he walking with a certain posture? Is he looking them in the eyes, talking with them? Because even in a situation where the man might not look all like that, but then that woman have a conversation with him and say, hold up, baby. And then in their minds, they can see it. They'd be like, oh, okay, I can see how he could get some. Because, see, one thing with women to understand, guys out here thinking that these women don't be talking about sex. They talking all the time about sex. These women are horny. They want that hot beef injection. They thirsty. They talking about it. They know. And they be checking out guys for sex. I be telling guys that all the time. A lot of guys can't get that. And really, quite frankly, a lot of guys can't get that because they ain't getting none. And they thinking because they ain't getting none, women don't want it. Now, women just want sex from certain men. Now, some guys will say, Chad and Tyrone, whatever the case. If it ain't them, it just ain't them. And they need to work on something. They need to work on their sex appeal, their attitude or something. And indeed, the information that I present, my philosophy, is telling you how to be sexy, how to get those women. And like even when I talk about body game, women be talking about bodies. Even though you got some guys saying, oh, bodies don't matter. You know, hold up, let me just say something. If you talk to 100 or some women and they say they checking out a man's body and don't even mention his face. In fact, some women, they purposely like a guy who's medium ugly or even ugly or a little bit of ugly. But they checking out his body. They checking out his print. Who you going to listen to? A bunch of other guys who don't know, want to pretend like it's something, or you going to listen to those women who saying exactly what they want, what makes a man sexy to them. I want y'all to think about that. I want y'all to really think about that. Which type of whose information you going to listen to? You try to get up in the woman. Now, and don't come with some corny stuff. You know, you don't ask a fish how to catch it. Yeah, these ain't fish. These are human beings who can communicate and have better feelings. They ain't going for just food. All right? Stop using that corny ass shit. Because just real quick, a lot of guys be thinking that shit because of whatever. God damn, that's a big ass bird. God damn. What kind of bird was that? That was a big ass bird. I was like, God damn. Yeah, I know I'll be seeing stuff along here. So, the thing is, that's that one thing. Women, they'll look at that guy, see him sexy, or they can see how he could get it. Hell, they might want to get it. Or even if they, for whatever reason, they don't want to get with him, they can still see, okay, I can see him getting something. Like women, they be checking, and they, like I said, they be checking out everything. Yeah, they be checking out like how you look and everything, but they also they checking out how you dress, and if they can, listening to how you speaking, how you looking. They looking at all that stuff, and they determining how sexy you are, your level of sex appeal. And even if for whatever reason they can't get with you, they can see if you can get with another woman. They can look at you and see that, and see that's very important. And see, that's the thing. That's the thing. How sexy you are. Because, think about it, sexy. They want to have sex. Because even when you think you cold approaching a woman or something like that, it comes down to, do they want to fuck you? Do they want to fuck you? It comes down to that. Now, if you some guy who they don't want to get with for whatever reason, you just shit out of luck. But if they look at you, they say, yeah, okay, I can see it. Even if they don't want you, even, sometimes they might look at you and say, you might not be somebody for them, but they can see how you could get with somebody. And women always looking. I don't care where you go. You go any place, they checking you out. And they doing that shit quick. They might do that shit in 3 seconds. 3 seconds. They just look at you and be like, oh, okay. Can get with him. Oh yeah, he can get with somebody. He's something. Now, even when I talk about select and non-select, that's a sexual hierarchy. If you generally non-select, generally, because like I said, everybody selected somebody, but if you generally non-select, you're not coming off as sexy. See, and that's the main thing. And I've even said before, sex appeal means more than anything, because you get some guys thinking about looks, but see, a lot of times these guys thinking about is just looks. Always thinking what they like, and they thinking women should like it too. It was like, nah. Women looking at a man totally different. they got a vagina. I don't know why a man thinks he can look at another man anyway and tell if they sexy. A man can't look at another man and tell that. The most a man can do, the most, is maybe look at some measurements or something. And even that, I don't know if that's going to turn the woman on. You don't know. You can measure all you want, say they got some tilt or they got all this, and it's still irrelevant. It's still fucking irrelevant. It depends on what the woman wants. You don't know. Like I said, women, you get women who consciously want somebody who's medium ugly, consciously want somebody who's ugly, or consciously want somebody who's all that. And that's up to them. Even when I talked about some women go for stocky men, some, not all. Not all. And they'll see some guy, and that's turning them on. But whatever the man is, it depends. It's usually, if you're talking about sex appeal, all of those are intangibles. What kind of intangibles is the man bringing? Is he walking with a certain posture? Is he wearing his clothes? Are they fitting him a certain way? Like, you get some guys who may be short statured, some guys who might be big men, and they still carrying themselves like they can tear up a woman. They still carrying themselves. They still walking with confidence. They still dressing well. They wearing their clothes in such a way that complements their bodies. And they carrying themselves in such a way that they get it. Or let's look at it another way. If you got a big man who is getting women, he got something. If you got a short man who's getting something. And remember, I told the story quite a few times of this guy who he was very knowledgeable. He was a friend of this guy, part of a group. We were doing some stuff. We were doing some deeper stuff. Because, you know, Uncle Ram is way deeper than people might realize. And we were working on some stuff. And when I first saw the guy, I was like, he looked homeless. I mean, he just looked jacked up. He didn't look like he had a home. He didn't look like he had a home. But then took him around some women, and they were eating out the palm of his hand. That dude had just killer charisma with him. It could be that. Like, sometimes it might not be the woman look at him right away, but they're around the woman. They can get him comfortable. They apparently saw something that obviously the men didn't. And you know, that's normal. That's normal. Because that's all that counts in the end. That's why you will get some guys out there. Like I said, I knew this guy. He ain't had no upper teeth. Not teeth. Teethus. He ain't had no upper teeth. I mean, his whole bridge was gone. Yet he was tearing up some women. He was tearing up some women. Now, of course, every woman's going to have a different idea what's sexy to her. But they can still get it. You know, one thing I've noticed with women, because I thought about it after my lady friend told me that it's just sex appeal. I say, you know, women, they just be reading men up and down. They can figure it out. So, you know, a man could even try to say, they ain't a player. In fact, I remember I told my lady friend, I said, nah, I'm innocent. She was telling me I was a player. I was like, oh, okay. See, always ask a woman. In fact, I would invite any women who actually see this to give their point of view. Agree, disagree, add some stuff in there. Women now. Now, if you're a guy, come on, man, don't, come on. You don't have a vagina. You don't know, okay? The best you can do is tell me what some woman told you. All right? That's the best you can do. But don't come up here like, no, man, this is what they want. This is what they want. This is what I think they want. This is my opinion. Man, come on. Stop that. Let me go on a tangent real quick. you got to give women their dap. You got to give women their props. They know what they want. Respect what they want. And if it ain't what you are or who you are or what you think, you don't have a vagina. You don't have nothing there. Hopefully you ain't getting excited over a man. Hopefully. Like I said, this ain't that type of channel if you are. But women, they be checking it out. So, go ask any women that you might be friendly to. Ask them. And they'll probably add more, because I still got some more women to talk to. You got some other women to say something. That's why I'll invite any women who see this to add what they can add to it. Or take away or add something. Because one thing, my lady friend, she can be blunt and straight to the point. she ain't going to add too much if she don't have to. That's her. Now, another woman might give you like a big old dissertation on it and something. And that's cool. That's cool. But whatever the case, it's at least one of the things. It's at least one of the things. Because I thought about that. Because honestly, I thought about what some other women had said, something similar. Some other women, when they were talking about a guy. Because they be looking. Shoot, I remember back when I was at Ketchum Elementary School in Southeast D.C. Southeast D.C. I can look it up. Yeah, I can look that up. And I remember there was, this back in the 70s, back when dudes wearing those big old afros and stuff. And we had a substitute teacher. And the little girls in the class were going crazy on me at first. Not later on, because let's just say they didn't like him afterwards. He wasn't cool afterwards. But that had to do with just how he was teaching. But when he first got there, he writing something on the board. They were checking him out. He had that big old afro, and I guess they thought he was cute. It was like, but then they were sitting there talking about him. And these are little girls. They probably like second grade. What were they? Yeah, second grade, third grade, or fourth grade. I forgot. But I just remember when they were checking him out like crazy. I think they were third grade. Yeah, I think they were third grade. Now that I think about it. I had to think about the school catching. Because I was thinking about this other school. So, yeah, they were checking them out. So women, they always looking. And they checking out a guy. And like I said, what they seeing in a man, how they going to look at a man, and how another man's going to look at a man is totally different. Just respect the way they're going to check out a man. Just respect the way. Just it is what it is. All right? It is what it is. So you don't worry about it. You don't worry about it. But that's one of the ways. They looking at a man. If they look at him and they say, okay, he's sexy, or he fine, he cute, he this or that, they figuring he fucking somebody, or some women want to get with him. And like I said, in a couple of days, I'll talk about if you really are sexy out here. If you really are sexy. And that's the important thing. Yeah, gotta go in here and get some vittles. I gotta start getting that Thanksgiving stuff. And gotta start thinking about Thanksgiving. The co-parent's gonna come over and she gonna hook up the turkey. Yeah. See, that's how you do it. You want to get to the point. Women doing stuff for you and they ain't even officially with you. But that means y'all gotta listen to what I'm actually telling y'all. Y'all gotta listen. But anyway, though, that's how they know. So anyway, that's all I got. I'll take off my gloves so I can do this. Get this off of here. But yeah, that's one way. Like I said, I invite any women to come on if you either co-sign it or You see something different. Women, let me acknowledge. Let me really emphasize that. Women, don't be some fellow on here. I'm looking at it. You got some dude on there talking something different. You don't have a vagina. You don't have a vagina. All right. Women, they just going to see shit differently. They're going to feel shit differently. All right. So anyway. That's all I got for today. I'll get back with y'all. Peace.